Hey, can you hear me?
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
That's like the one thing I was concerned about is, audio and video.
Well, everything worked perfectly this time. We are recording. I usually try to just, say my hellos and welcome. Thank you so much for doing this. There are a lot of people who are logging in right now.
Awesome.
So
No, thank you.
you'll get to see what I see. So you can see the attendees logging in and you'll be able to see the chat and things like that. So while everybody is logging in, if you want to say hi to anyone, welcome them. I will try to share this on Facebook in the meantime, and then we can get the ball rolling.
Yeah, sure. Just let me know. I don't see anything right now, so yeah, just let me know when.
Do you see anything on the side of your screen with panelists popping up? I just want to make sure you can
Oh,
see them.
sorry. Yeah, I see 12 participants.
Yes.
Okay, there. I should click that. Attendees. Perfect. Oh, awesome. A lot of people there. Hey, Rena, Amal, Anna, Audrey, Barbara, Beth, someone who signed on through Galaxy S8,
Oh,
CJ, Jane, Gemma, Jill. I think it goes by alphabetical order. So welcome everyone, and yeah, we'll be getting started very shortly.
yes. I'm just trying to pull everything up on the live. If everyone wants to tell us where they're from, that would be great.
Oh, hey, Lenica. Thanks for tuning in. Ooh, Grimsby, Manitoulin Island. I would love to visit
Wow.
there. Woodbridge, Brampton, Mississauga. Awesome. Toronto.
So the farthest right now is Manitoulin Island, a place I've always wanted to go but have never been. I've been to Sudbury. That's pretty close though.
Hot Don Mills and Shepherd area. Yes, it is very hot over here too in the Halton region where I'm from, but thank goodness for AC is all I can say. So hopefully everybody is inside, all cool and ready to learn.
I will never complain about the heat.
Oh, really? I'm not a I'm not a person who enjoys the heat. Burlington, awesome.
I love like in my head, this heat is going to last until October. I know it won't, but I can dream, okay? I can dream. Oh, I absolutely love it. So we are just about going perfect. I believe it is live on Facebook right now. Excellent. Look at us go. All right. So welcome everyone. It is really hot for some, not as hot for others. And I should probably introduce myself, which is usually how I normally end up introducing myself, saying I should probably introduce myself. So I'm Dwaynia Peel, and I am the owner and founder of Canadian Small Businesswoman. And we try to do things like these webinars to, face-to-face events are great when you go out and you network, but sometimes you want to learn something in a short span of time while you're comfortable in your own home. So that's what these webinars are for. It's also going to be available to be rewatched as soon as we're done and as soon as it's downloaded on our YouTube channel. So not to fear if you're not capturing everything slide by slide, you can rewatch this. And you'll also have Karen's information. I'll email it to you so that you know how to get in touch with her and ask any questions that you might have. So I am very honored and I'm very thankful that Karen was able to, spend some time with us, and she'll be able to share some knowledge because we all need a little bit help when it comes to digital marketing. I'm pulling my hair out currently because we have an expo coming up in T-minus 11 days. And trust me, I'm like always online, just trying to do this, do that. Oh my gosh, how am I supposed to, focus on trying to target certain markets? And yeah, it's hectic. So enough of me. I would like to give Karen a chance to, well, before I do that, a little housekeeping. You can always ask questions either via the Q&A portion. There should be a tab that says Q&A. I see CJ, you typed in the Q&A, Orangeville, Camden Hills area. I will be monitoring that, so you don't have to worry too much, Karen, but you'll be able to see the same things I can see.
Okay.
You can always type in the chat box, so I'll be monitoring that as well. Anything else? I think that's all the housekeeping we have. Karen, I will hand it over to you to do any intros or any questions that you might, any preemptive questions you might have, and I will run your deck from my screen. So you guys won't be seeing my beautiful face for a while, but you can hear my voice once in a while.
Okay, so I figure I'll just give you kind of the cue when to like click for the next line or the next slide. So if you guys don't know, this is actually my first time doing a webinar this way. I've done Zoom interviews, but not actually through a webinar, and also Facebook Live, so it's kind of nice dual purpose. But yeah, I'll just say next point, next slide, go ahead, and
yes,
that's pretty much it.
I have it up now, and everyone should be able to see the slide. Perfect.
All right, awesome. So I just again wanted to reiterate, welcome everybody, and also those of us just joining us. Huge thank you to everyone taking time out of their busy schedule to come listen to some tips and tricks, and also a huge thank you to Joania for this opportunity. So I'm excited and I'm ready, and let's get learning. All right, so first slide.
Let me just make sure my mouse is in the right spot. There we go.
Okay, so I'm just going to basically reiterate what you've probably seen on the promo. So my name is Karen Swizik. So this pronunciation, don't need to worry about it. Just Karen, or Swizik, founder of Making the Bacon. And it actually has nothing to do with bacon. So it originally started off as a personal finance blog in 2012. It was a way for me to kind of escape from my monotonous job from the federal government. And come 2017, I actually got let go from my job at a startup. So I made that decision to focus more on my blog, to use the experience I gained over the years and provide education, training, and customized strategies for small business owners. And also, I'm an instructor at Sheridan College, so I teach their blogging course and their social media course as well. And another thing is also I facilitate blog strategy workshops within the Greater Toronto area. Okay. So just a few brands that I've worked with as a blogger. So through blogging and social media campaigns, you may recognize some: Supperworks, and Meridian Credit Union, Camp Tech, and a few others. All right, so just some fun facts about me, because it's not, all seriousness. So I'm very allergic to cats. Wanted a cat for the longest time, but unfortunately can't have one. I love traveling. I'm also an instructor at Good Life Fitness, so I really enjoy also motivating people to push themselves physically. I'm a lefty, and for those of you who are familiar with the Myers-Briggs personality types, I am an INTJ. So if you're an INTJ or your personality type, feel free to share it in the chat. All right.
What do you teach at Good Life? Because I'm addicted to spinning.
Oh, what's so funny? I actually don't teach spinning because I find my butt hurts from sitting on the bike for so long. I teach body pump and body attack.
Ooh, body pump is awesome.
Yes.
Funny body pump story, everyone. I took body pump when I used to live in Windsor, and I live in a second floor apartment. And I remember the first time I took the class, the gym was across the street from my home. I'm also someone who hates dirt. I crawled up the stairs on my hands and knees, but I went back because it was an awesome class, but I crawled to my apartment. So yeah.
Good for you. That's awesome. Okay, so we're just going to go over what attendees will learn. So why you should have a digital plan for your business, the importance of blogging and social media for your business, why it's necessary to be active on these platforms, some common misconceptions and mistakes about blogging and social media, and some recommended resources to use. So just before we go on to the next slide, I just wanted to mention about, with respect to a digital plan, this webinar doesn't involve a specific template or these are the specific steps, because I feel that really every business is different. Everyone has different goals. So really you can take all this information and kind of, cater it to your specific business. All right. So what is a digital plan? So I like to think of a digital plan as the portion of your business plan that has to do with your online presence, which is essentially your online marketing plan. And what a digital plan may consist of. So it may be a combination of strategies, ideas, and content types. So for your social media, so not only what you're posting on your social media, but your profile as well, which is very important. Your blog, and your website, which is different from your blog, and email newsletter. All right, and why a digital plan is necessary. And it's not just because I said so. So posting for the sake of posting on social media and your blog is not a plan. So just throwing stuff to the wall and hoping something sticks, hoping something happens, in all honesty, is not really a plan. And a digital plan can help you set goals and track your progress of your goals. It can help you create content that is meaningful and provide value. And it's important to note that these days, having an online presence matters more than ever. And when you think about it, people spend a significant amount of time researching online. So how much time would you say you spend on social media, on your phone? We are constantly online, just browsing, searching stuff. So I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm the type of person, I do a lot of online research before I make a decision to purchase something, to use a service. I will check sites, I will check blog post reviews, Facebook reviews, just basically anything and everything before I make that decision. All right, so some more reasons why it is necessary. So think of it this way, your competitors may have a blog and also be using social media.
Yep. Sorry, I'm just responding to a
Oh yeah, sure, no problem.
typed at the same time.
Give me a chance to catch my breath.
I realized I only responded to you, so perfect. I'm back.
And when you think about it, they may be doing a really good job, so you may be able to learn something from them. So I suggest maybe if you have some time to even do a competitor audit and check out their blogs and their social media and see what they're doing well and what they can improve on, because they may even be doing a really bad job at it, and then this is kind of like where you can come in and do a better job at connecting with people online. So regardless, a digital plan can help you figure out how to connect with your target customer or client online. All right, so let's talk about social media. So this is a great quote. You can use social media to turn strangers into friends, friends into customers, and customers into salespeople. So for those of you who don't know Seth Godin, he's an entrepreneur and award-winning author. He's written a lot of books on marketing and leadership. So I believe what he's saying holds a lot of truth. All right, so some stats for everyone who likes numbers. So by the end of 2017, there were almost 1 billion active users on Instagram, and 5% of the world's overall referral traffic comes from Pinterest. And Facebook has more than 2 billion active users. So I put in the resources just to let you know I'm not making these numbers up.
Wow.
And close to half the world's population are on some type of social media. And 86% of women will look at social media before deciding to make a purchase. All right, so let's go through some common mistakes on social media. So posting too much, flooding people's feeds. And with respect to posting too much, it really will depend on your platform. So say, for example, with Twitter, because the feed moves quite fast, posting within the double digits is nothing out of the ordinary. Whereas if you try to post, say, 10, 15 times a day on Facebook or Instagram, people may get annoyed with you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then posting the same thing over and over again. So posting the same type of image, that can also cause people to kind of lose interest in what you're posting. So it's a good idea to try and mix it up. So there's the other end of the spectrum, is barely posting. So if you're only posting, say, once a week or once a month, that's not really doing you any justice. So posting too much personal content. So add a little bit more detail to this. So I believe that with your business account, and especially too if you're service-based business, you're selling yourself. So you may want to add in a little bit of personal content, which is totally fine. And you can do that via like Instagram stories. So be a little bit more informal. However, I think it's important to kind of maintain the integrity of the account. So if people look at your account and they see that you're posting a ton of pictures of yourself on vacation, but you claim to be an accountant, people will kind of, wonder whether or not this is actually a business profile. So I think it's one of those things, really focus, I'd say around the 80-20 rule, focusing more on business content versus personal content. And of course, you're more than welcome to share your vacation photos, but I think the majority of them should be reserved for your personal account.
I often wonder about that because that bothers me. I thought maybe I was just being a prude, but it bothers me so much when I go to someone's business page and I am truly confused if it's their business or personal page because they are oversharing. And I mean, I will post pictures of myself at events.
Yeah.
Because the events are, supporting small business or things like that. Or, maybe like a little random photo of me doing something. But I am so hesitant to do it whenever I feel like I should. But yeah, the oversharing really bothers me.
Yeah, I honestly think it's okay, like to throw it in here or there, because I feel it makes you more relatable than just like how I threw in that little tidbit of like, hey, I'm allergic to cats, and maybe who knows, maybe my potential client and customers, they are also allergic to cats too, so we can share that allergies together. But yeah, I totally agree with you on if you're confusing your potential customers and clients, then unfortunately you may end up turning them away, and they may not come back to your site or social media accounts. Okay. And then there's that other thing too about posting only sales related content. So having those posts that basically scream like buy now all the time and nothing else. So we'll talk a little bit more about what types of content you can post. All right, more mistakes. Not using hashtags. So really, I can't stress enough, using hashtags is very important. It can help you get found because, say for example, with Instagram, now you can follow hashtags, and hashtags are a great way to increase your visibility. I was about to say invisibility, but that is obviously the opposite. They're a great way to increase your visibility. And also using the wrong hashtags or too many hashtags. So again, for example, if you have a post and say it's a post of a cat and then just using hashtags, this is a very extreme example, but saying hashtag happy birthday. So really the hashtags should relate to the post, relate to the caption. And again, using too many hashtags. So having to do with, remember how I said different platforms, different frequencies of posting. It also has to do with hashtags. So with Instagram, you can use up to 30. For Twitter, research has shown that it's usually just up to 2 hashtags apparently are good for increasing engagement, and anything more than that decreases your engagement. So just trying to find that healthy balance. And also too, I think from an aesthetic standpoint, that having too many hashtags can also kind of look like spammy. Okay, next.
Twitter, only 2. That's wow. I'll keep that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, according to I think it was like Buffer. Buffer wrote an article mentioning that it's about 2 last time I checked.
Right. And Buffer is my favorite tool in the world.
Yes. So I will be mentioning that, but yeah, Buffer is a great tool. We'll talk more about that later on. So also little to no engagement. So it's very interesting with social media, the conversations I have with people saying they're very afraid. I don't want to comment. I don't know what to say. I'm afraid of what to say. But really, in order to make yourself more visible, you need to engage. I can't stress that enough. Oh, and my favorite, the private messaging. So once you follow somebody, when they automatically say like, "Hey, thanks for following me. Buy this, sign up for this. Follow me on this, do this." I personally think that's a huge turn off. You're, asking them to do all of this stuff even before you've had a conversation with them. So, not a big fan of private messaging in that sense. However, with this is just more of an aside. Private messaging, I think it's okay to completely ask, why did you want to connect? How did you find out about me? I think those are fair questions to ask when private messaging. Oh, yes, and dark, blurry images. So I would say, like having something visual, it really helps break up the text and just kind of gives a break for your eyes when reading. So, yeah, and especially when it comes to visual platforms such as Instagram and Pinterest, try and make the effort to post good quality photos.
And try to remember what you like about them. Like I know my order of social media, like the first thing I check is Instagram because I find those nice quotes and like I like them. I like reading them. So I
Mm-hmm.
try to find the things I love reading on those platforms and try to recreate them.
Okay, and so there's images with too much text. So I think quotes are fine as long as 1 2 cents. But sometimes I've seen posts where it looks like it should have been in the caption, and I think that kind of makes it hard to read. And just again, going back to we're spending a lot of time on our phones, so trying to read that on your phone that might end up being difficult. So sometimes it's best just kind of let the picture be itself, a few words only, and really you can add a whole bunch of text through the caption instead.
And if you're doing text, I know someone who's notorious for this and it bothers me. If you're doing text images and you're keeping it short, select the right font.
Yes.
Like, don't use Old English. No one's going to know what that says. Just they're going to keep scrolling.
Yeah, I know it's almost tempting. You're like, hey, I want to use this fancy font to make it stand out. I'm not a designer by trade, but I think best practice is to try and use simple fonts and maybe enhance a word or two, or just a couple words with that fancy font. But I don't think everything should be written in Old English. All right, so some common misconceptions, what people think about social media. These I find are interesting. So if you're a millennial, you're an automatic social media expert. And I hear people saying that they let their children do their social media for them, help them out, which I feel is completely fine because they grew up with the social media, so they may be a little bit more savvy. However, I think with respect to kind of building your brand online, you can't necessarily make that assumption that everyone, say who's under the age of 40 knows how to use social media. So and I think with respect to millennials and Gen Z, a lot of them end up using social media mainly for personal purposes, just to communicate with their friends. So I don't think, you should assume that, just because you're young doesn't mean you're automatic social media expert. There are a lot of people of different ages who are social media experts. and people will buy from you right away if you post on social media. So I think this misconception may have to do with the fact that you're able to post on social media right away. You're able to get those instant reactions, those comments and everything right away, but that isn't necessarily the case. It's just more kind of building that awareness, letting people know that, you know, this is me, this is who I am, and this is what I do. So I don't think it makes sense to assume that, you know, just because like, bam, you know, your post is on Facebook, that people will automatically come running to your site or automatically buy from you. That there's no ROI, so no return on investment. I think one of the things that a lot of people assume that like social media, that the ROI has to deal with a financial transaction. And I personally believe that's not the case, because really social media can do a lot of other things, such as building the relationship and be able to connect with people and become informed about certain events, such as webinars like this. So really, I don't think you should focus on making money only. It's too hard. Social media is a waste of time. Again, I think really it has to do with the education. I think the more you know about it, the more you're informed. It's not as hard as you think, and it's not a waste of time. Like if you're not willing to take the time, then it may end up being a waste of time for you. Yes, it takes time for things to happen. They may not happen right away, but that doesn't mean it's a waste of time. Right? And that it only works for certain industries. So this is a popular misconception that people think, oh, only product based, usually they're the ones who can do well on social media. And I don't think that's true, because again, for me, I don't have my own product. The product is me. I'm service based, but you know, I'm still able to create content on social media, just basically telling my story, my why I love what I do, and who I work with. Also, that it only works for certain niches. So people tend to think, okay, social media, it only works for, you know, food related niches, or travel, or beauty, or fitness. But really, I think it can work for almost any niche. It's just you have to approach it differently. So say a niche, if you're in again, going back to the service-based business, it'll be different compared to somebody who is food related.
I know a lot of times, or I guess this can hit 2 points where there's no ROI or it only works for certain industries. Sometimes you have to really think about who you're attracting. So, for example, a large corporation might want to do business with you because you're reaching a different audience than they would be on their page that might have 50,000 followers and you only have 5.
Mm-hmm.
They want to tap into your 5 because, you know, they've already captured their 50.
Yeah.
So you can use your numbers to partner with certain organizations, and you can also use your numbers, depending on the organization, to funnel some kind of benefit to your company. I can throw out my personal example would be a company like Vistaprint. They want to have certain content on their page. They have a lot of followers, but they don't want all the things on their page to be about complaints because of, you know, like maybe shipping or any kind of product quality. So they will partner with different organizations to try to get them to produce content for their page.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps both parties, right? So
Yeah.
it really depends on what you're using your page for. Think outside the box.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. That's one of the things I love about social media, because I feel it gives you that opportunity to think outside the box. Sorry, I'm just going to grab water.
No, please do. Please do.
For here and there.
While you grab water, I'll remind everyone that we will have the video for replay. So it will be up on our YouTube channel forever and ever and ever before the night is out. And yeah, I'll stop talking now.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about social commerce, and I think it's fascinating in how we've come a long way. So this slide was actually taken from a lecture from the Social Media Week conference in LA I attended in June, and this was presented by Dipley, which is a company that is Canadian too. They're based in Toronto. So we had originally started out with brick and mortar, the stores, and then, along came e-commerce where we're able to shop online. And now the latest trend appears to be social commerce. So being able to, use social media to buy products online and then also to sell your products and services. So, the fact that this is happening, I think, again, is another huge reason why people need to pay, why business owners need to pay more attention to social media.
I lost my mouse. Sorry. Oh, there we go.
Okay, so let's talk about my favorite thing, blogs. So why you need to have a blog. And again, not just because I said so. So as great as social media is, the rules and algorithms of social media are always changing, and sometimes they can go down for who knows, several days or several hours. So that's just one thing to take into consideration. And that you don't own your account. So really, it's kind of scary. Like, I know Facebook is this huge thing that it's most likely isn't going away anytime soon. But again, at the same time, you really never know what could happen. So, and blog posts, they can help expand what you're posting on social media. So I kind of like to think they can work together. I don't think it's really one or the other. If anybody, just because I used to blog about personal finance. So if you're into investing, it's all about kind of, not putting all your eggs in one basket and just having different investments. So again, just kind of going back to what I mentioned about including your digital plan, having that blog, having that social media, and then a newsletter as well. And so people share blog posts and stories. They may share websites here and there, but when you think about it, we usually share like posts and stories like, oh, hey, check out this blog post that so-and-so wrote about this. I found this really useful. Or, this blog post review on something. I think, this will help you out. So we're a sharing society basically. So. And blogs and sites show credibility, so they can be considered your online marketing tool. So while you're sleeping, it's still working for you 24/7. All right, so some common mistakes with blogging, which are actually similar to social media. So not having at least one image with your post, again, just tying back into, especially if a blog post is quite long, breaking up the text, just giving the reader a break. Not promoting your blog post. So it's important to know that just because you hit publish, it doesn't necessarily mean people will flock to your blog. Remember, we are very busy. We're on our phone. We're on social media. We have shiny object syndrome. You have to let me know. You have to remind me that a blog post is out. By the way, I actually did just publish a blog post today, so if you want to check it out. Not having sharing buttons on your site. So again, just trying to make things easy. Again, I know you can copy and paste the link, but really, if you want to share it on Facebook, sometimes it's just as simple as having a plugin that allows you to share on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So yeah, make it easy for your visitors. Poor grammar and spelling. So I'm not an English major. And I know with blog posts, especially, they're more of a conversational tone. But I think with respect to basic grammar, it's important. So just little things, knowing the difference between blue, B-L-E-W, versus blue, B-L-U-E. And another great tool that can help you with that is Grammarly, which you've probably seen through so many YouTube ads. It's free, and it can help you with sentence structure, grammar and spelling. So, and again, spelling too is a thing. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the structure of a research article, but I think the grammar in a sense, and structure should be like at least readable or like easy for people to understand. Bad layout. So just kind of tying back into not having an image with your posts. It really helps to have paragraphs that are short. And again, just going back into the idea that we're on our phones a lot, doing research so it's easy to scan, easy to read, having those bullet points, just basically a lot of white space and making things easy to read from a mobile point of view. All right, so some common misconceptions about blogging. Again, no ROI. So one of the things that is my pet peeve is that I see a lot of blog posts that only focus on, hey, I got 5,000 views this month, or here are the steps that I did to get those 5,000 views, or here's a blog post that shows you how I made $5,000 a month. It's almost as if the huge focus is only on those two things. And again, I don't believe that blogging is just about that. So just kind of using myself as an example, how blogging helped me. It helped me enable to gain experience and skills to be able to do this webinar, to become an instructor at Sheridan for blogging, to become, somewhat of an authority. And again, to have those like collaborations with those brands, and just to be able to connect with people and kind of get my story out there, because I felt actually, here's a side note, I used to blog anonymously and kind of felt, okay, people had their perfect 9-to-5 job, they were on this trajectory, whereas I had no idea I was doing my career path is more of a jungle gym than a ladder. And I felt blogging was able, it gave me a chance to share my story, and then I was able to connect with people online who kind of also felt the same way. So yeah, so another misconception is that, again, hitting publish when you're done. So that's just the tip of the iceberg, and that you can make money right away. So you really need to focus on, I strongly believe, building that community first, building that ample amount of blog posts, because when you think about it, one blog post is not enough. People will want to come back to your site. They'll want to consume more content. So really, you need to focus on that first, the quality of your post. And again, only for certain niche and industries. People think that blogging is only for fashion, for food. And again, I blog about blogging. So really, you can blog about, I think, anything. And that it's only for millennials and Generation Z. I don't know why that there is this belief that these things are only restricted for certain ages, because really anybody with access to the internet who has a story to share can blog. And I know actually one of my former students from my course, she has a blog, a lifestyle blog, but it's catered more to people of a different demographic, so people who are middle aged, which I think is really great. And because it's a niche, I don't think that has really been tapped into yet, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. So okay, so just a quick few points about a newsletter.
So before we jump to newsletters, I just have a couple of pointers for blogging kids. I have blogs on my site, and I absolutely hate to write. 100%.
You're not alone.
I'm a chemist. That's my background. That's the industry I'm in.
So you said you're a chemist?
Yes.
My background's biochemistry.
Look at that. Go team. And so it's like the words, I don't want to deal with them. I'm used to dealing with formulas. So, I mean, there are some blogs that I have written. I actually wrote a blog with pointers and things to blog about, which is weird. But I get blog contributors. So depending on your business type, I like finding the experts in their fields and saying, hey, do you want to blog for me? And I do set criteria where, it would be nice if the blog is maybe 70% reused, like 25% original content, but I need a minimum commitment of 6 blogs to be able to use 6 straight months out of the year. And I set a date that their blog is due. So I am always looking for blog posts, and it's great for both parties, because I'm posting a blog on my site, which is shared to not only my mailing list, but all my social media platforms. And it's also giving this person access to my followers. So try to find if you don't want to blog actively and you can sit down and bang out 6 articles, submit them to somewhere that's always looking for bloggers. I mean, I'm one. I'm always looking for bloggers.
There you go. A guest posting opportunity. Yeah, I definitely agree with guest posting is a great way, especially if you're kind of under a time crunch and you can foresee that, oh, okay, I won't have time to blog. I'm gonna throw it out there for guest posts. And I guess I might be biased because I do enjoy writing. The majority of content is written by me, and I believe that even though you do have guest posts, I still feel that business owners, especially small business owners, should make an attempt if they do decide to have a blog, is to try and write some of their own content too, because I feel that your audience will want to hear from you as well.
I'll try harder.
maybe it'll like motivate you more.
I feel bad sometimes, but at least my comfort is knowing that I can't sit and blog about chemistry. So I'm going to find the person to blog about the topics that I want them to share. So yeah, I will probably come October stockpile about 6 so I can keep pushing.
Yeah. And you know what? I also feel too that it's kind of like developing a good habit, or again, just kind of, I'm integrating all my other jobs, but the fact that I'm a group fitness instructor, it's kind of like a muscle. And if you remember, your first time at the gym, how hard it was, I like to think that over time it does get better, and maybe even, I guess, like more tolerable for people who don't really enjoy it. But it has to do, I think, with developing good habits. Because think of the first time you tried to do something, and then how long it took for you to develop that habit. Like, it doesn't happen right away. So it's just one of those things to keep at it.
Karen, you're motivating me. I'm gonna do
it. Just like, Finding Nemo. It's like, just keep blogging, just keep blogging, just keep swimming. Now everyone's gonna have that voice in their heads.
Thank you.
Just keep blogging. All right, okay. No more silliness. Okay, so why you need to have a newsletter. And I'm not gonna lie, I'll be honest, the first few years, I didn't have a newsletter because like, oh, I don't need one. This is, too much time. Again, too much work. I was giving a lot of excuses. But then I realized the value of having a newsletter, because people might not see your posts on social media feeds. Again, with the algorithms, people say like, oh, I didn't see your post for whatever reason. But you know what? Everyone checks their email every day. I don't think there's a day that goes by where I don't check my email at least minimum 5 times, probably. I think, yeah, I would say that. So it's still as old school as it sounds, it's still a form of communication. So just as I said, people check their email every day, several times a day. And if you lose your social media followers, do you have their contact information? Are you able to get a hold of them? And I believe the newsletter is a great way to provide additional information. So for the most part with my newsletter, I will mention some blog posts, but I like to try and have additional information that normally isn't on the blog, just as kind of a thank you, and recognizing the fact, like, I really appreciate the fact that you decided to invite me to your inbox. So aside from sharing your blog posts, you can also share your events, share your product launches. So just kind of like a secret, hey, you guys are the first to know that, like, this is coming up, so save the date, or get ready for it. And yeah, so make them feel special with exclusive discounts, access to some resources, because when you think about it, these are your VIP people. These are like the people who want to hear from you. They're expecting like, oh, when is the next newsletter coming out? Okay, so why you need to create content, which is probably a reiteration of what I said over the past few slides, but we'll go through it again.
Yep. For your newsletter, I know for constant contact, you can actually feed your newsletter to your social media. So when you hit send, it will also,
Yeah.
you can also have the social share. So you get double if you would like to share certain things.
Yeah. All right. So if you forget everything else, remember this: content is king and distribution is queen. All right. So why you need to create content online? Really, you can't just depend only on your website. And as I mentioned before, like your competitors are most likely doing it. So they're the ones who are grabbing the attention of your potential clients and customers. Just to reiterate, again, there's so much noise online, and I don't know about the rest of you, but I found my attention span has actually become a lot shorter. Just just scrolling through several things, and we know that you have to see things a number of times and even a certain number of different ways before it may end up catching your attention. You never know who is consuming your content. And this may sound creepy, but they may just be waiting for the right time to contact you or buy from you. They just might, oh, I'm waiting, looking for, oh, okay, I want to just, see what the next blog post is, see what video she's coming out with. So this is a great image, having to do with the awareness funnel. So you can see at the top some social media accounts. So that's basically how people find out about you a lot of the times is through social media, and then going down through the funnel consideration, they end up converting, then become loyal fans and advocates, and so then they end up spreading the word about your business to their network, so increasing your reach. So some food for thought. So traditional marketing tends to be more costly, so yeah. And that it also can be hard to measure. So I just like to think back to, I don't know if anybody watches Mad Men, back in the day when they had like the billboards and the magazines, like how would they be able to make the connection as to, who came into the store, who purchased something based on what they saw in a magazine. And in all honesty, like I've never walked into a store and told them like, hey, I saw this great dress in your magazine, or I just end up buying it. So yeah, it can be hard to tell where your customers are coming from.
Yeah, I'm feeling the pain for the traditional marketing at the moment because I just made some calls today regarding advertising on radio and
Oh, really?
television for my expo, and I'm crying about it internally. So let's mush on.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I've never used radio and TV. However, though, I may actually consider doing a trade show. So I may like dabble in with print, and yeah, just kind of looking at the prices, it is quite costly. But I do see like the value in it, but I definitely would not put all my money on traditional marketing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm spending probably 4 times my social media budget on traditional marketing, and I am wondering in my head, is it worth it? But it's targeting a certain audience that, yeah, I might have to do it. It's hurting.
So the great thing about social media and blogs is that you can track the likes, comments, shares, impressions. So how many people have seen these posts? And I believe that digital marketing really, it can be more interactive. Like it's more of a conversation, like a two-way street, such as Instagram giveaways. And then the data that you collect, it can help you learn more about your potential customer. Help you create content that's better suited to your ideal customer or client. Help you provide better customer service. And moving on, so a blog post is not just a blog post. I like to think this gold mine of content. So just remember that people absorb content in various formats. So I'm one of those weirdos. They say that video is the trend uprising. I actually don't really watch a lot of video. I don't watch YouTube. I prefer to read. However, blog posts can be turned into any one of the following. So podcast episode, a live streaming video, webinar, a presentation, course, or an ebook. So just an aside about the ebook. On my blog, I have a semi-regular series of blog interviews. And what I did a few years back is I had taken some of the interviews and created an ebook. And I then used that ebook to give away as a freebie for people who subscribe to my list. So that's something that you could potentially look into, and just taking some of your blog posts that you found very valuable that provide tips and tricks and just turning it into an ebook. Because again, sometimes people may not have time to, or the patience to scroll through all your posts or search for all your posts. So why not, just amalgamate it into an ebook?
That's an awesome idea.
And vice versa. So all those things that I mentioned, podcast episode, the ebook, presentations, they can also be turned into a series of blog posts. Okay, so let's talk about sharing strategy. So again, just tying back into what I mentioned with blogs, make it easy for other people to share content, because people are lazy, people are busy, people have short attention span. Just make it easy. Easy peasy. And share often to stay top of mind. Share at different times and different amounts based on the platform. Share different types of content, or you can share the same content but change up the message. Sorry, second water break. And sharing other people's content and tag them to get on their radar as well. Create conversation while you're sharing. Use hashtags when you are sharing. So again, using blogging and social media together as a great team. So use a blog to provide content to share on social media. So a lot of the times I hear read people saying, I don't know what to share on social media. Oh, I'm stressing out. I don't know. I don't have any content. And really your blog post, again, is your gold mine of content. You can share the whole blog post. You can even share just snippets of the blog post. Say, create a graphic of, a certain line. So with that being said, use that social media, increase your reach, and then drive traffic back to the site. And again, just kind of doing that. All right, online conversations. So being social on social media doesn't mean blasting your followers with messages about your services and offers. So it goes back to the whole idea of storytelling versus sales pitch. So back in the day, it was more focused on sales pitch, whereas now we're seeing that brands, and even the big brands as well, they're focusing more on telling the story behind their business, what they do, what they're passionate about. So education more versus selling. So just telling them, just sharing some tips and tricks, why you do what you do. Educate them about your business. Be relatable, genuine. So I had this conversation with someone who mentioned that they weren't sure how to interact with people on social media. They felt more comfortable going to networking events and interacting with people offline, which I find funny because I'm actually the opposite. I prefer to interact with people more online. And if you've ever seen me at a networking event, or perhaps if we ever meet, you'll probably notice that I'm the one who's usually by the food table or the one on my phone pretending to be busy. I just have that comfort more online. But the thing is, what the conversations you have with people at networking events, being genuine, those coffee dates, I think really it can translate for the most part into online conversations as well. Just for example, with Instagram, I have met so many amazing people on Instagram. I've had, so many opportunities have arose. And I think that had to do more with just being genuine on Instagram. You just writing comments, and not those spammy comments that say like, hey, great post, just saying like, oh, again, going back to the thing, hey, I'm also allergic to cats, or just, just sharing a little bit about yourself, like really whatever you like, the conversations you have offline, try and, mimic those conversations online as well. So motivate and inspire people online. And with conversations, ask questions, ask their opinion, make them feel part of the conversation. So being on social media, and it's funny when I hear people sometimes say like, oh yeah, I'm on social media, but just focusing on automation. And you have accounts, so you have, say, a Facebook page, but it's a ghost town. Again, I'm constantly selling to people that follow you, engage with your content. So don't be afraid to start a conversation or be part of a conversation. Just jump in. It's not, it's not like, say, with an offline networking event. Sometimes, it can be people who know each other and they're talking about something you're not familiar with, you can't relate. But I think with online, it kind of is more of a level playing field. It's more open, and people can just respond and say like, hey, like I like that too, or hey, I'm also not a big fan of Brussels sprouts. So if you're interested in some content ideas, you can talk about your business without saying buy my product and services. So there's also this fear of self-promotion, but I think that talking about your business in a genuine way, in a storytelling fashion, isn't selling, really. So if you have a product, or if you're if you want to share your workspace, show behind the scenes, like what are you working on, show step by step, show people if you're working on a course, if you're working on a presentation, or if you have a product, you can show it in its like before stage versus its after stage. And again, I'm a firm believer in sharing your story. I love reading about people's stories, why they got into the business, how they got into the business, and, why are you passionate about what you do? And I think that kind of, makes you more relatable to your audience. Okay, so being social is all about being able to do all those things, not necessarily on the previous slide, but on the slides, a few slides back. So being able to, connect with people, to create conversations, but on a much, much wider scale. And you may be able to connect with people you might have not been able to connect with in real life. So, Wanya, I think are you based in Mississauga or Brampton?
Mississauga.
Okay, based in Mississauga. So I'm in Oakville and I live near Mississauga. I'm in Mississauga a lot, but given the fact for whatever reason, but we managed to connect via social media. So again, you may be able to connect with people who are in your neighborhood. And then so you have that, you start that connection online, and then eventually you can take it offline. When you share things of value, people appreciate it. And again, just going back to tagging people where applicable to get their attention so they can like, comment, and then also share with their networks too. So this is just one brief example of storytelling on Instagram. So as you can see with the account General Electric, which I think it actually surprised me when I saw their Instagram account, in that, they're able to share a story and make it look interesting, having to do with planes and engines and wind turbines, because you would think, oh, okay, that seems kind of boring. But I think the way they, curated their feed, it makes it look more interesting. And then it can generate, like more interest to want to know more about the brand. So stories generate a personal interest in your brand and associate products and services. So when customers feel that they could relate to the story or person behind the brand, then products and service are considered to be more valuable. All right, tools. So if you like tools, content calendar. So really, it could be any form, like physical or digital. And it's a great way to help plan out your content in advance, especially if you are part of a small team and you have several contributors for the blog. It's just kind of this collective document that people can review. It can help maintain consistency. So one of the big things is that people, with respect to blogging, they're concerned about being consistent. And it's really important to note that consistency is different for everyone, and don't feel that you have to post several times a week. You have to post every week. I post actually every other week. So I found that schedule has been able to work for me. So you can visualize at a month's glance. You can see if there's any gaps or if you're repeating the same type of content. And also you can schedule content based on themes, seasons, events, or product launches. And it helps you stay on schedule. All right, some tools. So for images, so a lot of the times people struggle to find images, or they don't want to spend the time creating images for themselves, which is completely fine, and it makes sense. So these are some sites that offer a royalty-free images, so you can use them, download them, you don't have to pay for them. They're actually really good quality. So when I first started my blog, I had really ugly images. And once I found out about this site, these sites, I was blown away. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. All right, so image editing and graphic creation. So these are also free tools that you can use to edit the picture, to add some overlays, spice it up, change the shape of it. So they're really great for image editing too. And then also with the different platforms, there's different image dimensions. So with a tool like Canva, it actually has the image dimensions all set up. So if you want to create a Facebook event cover, you can go to that. If you're looking to create a Instagram post, you can use that.
I love Canva.
Yeah, me too. Love Canva. All right, so social media schedulers, and analytics. So we had talked about automation. So just a brief note about automation. Yes, I believe automation can save you time, and it's great for batch scheduling, but it's not the be all end all. So just because you're automating your posts doesn't mean you're excused from engaging with people, because engagement is not automatic. So here are some tools that are social media schedulers and also have analytics. So there's Hootsuite, MeetEdgar, Buffer's one that I use, and also Vanya, you use Buffer too. So you have two recommendations for Buffer if you want to go with that. Yeah, I think their free plan, they have 3 accounts, and then the paid one, sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it gives you more access. Yeah. So I'm not an affiliate of Buffer. I don't think they have an affiliate program, but I'm just saying that I prefer that. Tailwind you can use for scheduling your Pinterest pins and Instagram, and then also you can use the analytics on the social media, like the social media platforms themselves. All right, so if you're really into Instagram, there are some tools such as Preview, Later, and Plan At Least. So in addition to helping you plan out Instagram, they also have their own analytics, and then you can also edit your photos too. Okay, so some key takeaways. I know I'm bombarded you all with a lot of information. So again, we're just going to reiterate and checklists, because I like lists. So what to include in your digital plan. So having a website, having a blog, a few social media accounts. So really don't spread yourself too thin. I think 2 to 3 is sufficient to start where you feel your audience may be. And you'll probably notice that I'm on a lot of social media accounts, but that's just because of what I do. The nature of my business is based on social media. So I'm on Snapchat, but I'll be honest, I don't really use Snapchat at all. So having a newsletter, having a content calendar, and ideas for content. And so don't feel overwhelmed and think, okay, well, Karen said I need to have all these stuff. It's not done right away, but again, I think it's best to just kind of tackle one thing at a time, and then eventually get through each one. Or you can maybe perhaps set up your social media accounts and ideas for content to start. Okay, so some action items. So just reiterating to create often, stay top of mind, create various types of content. Very important, create with purpose. So think about what you're posting. Like, what is the message behind it? Is there a call to action? Do you want people to do something? Create conversation, ask questions, get people talking, and create community. So here are some more action items. So really, I think it's just a matter of breaking it down. So you're on social media anyway, every day for the most part, I think. So it's safe to say, I think that time you spend on social media, make it count. So, take that 15 minutes that you're scrolling to, maybe, there's some certain accounts you want to follow or engage with them, like their posts again, to get on their radar. Leave thoughtful, genuine comments to stand out more. So when you think about it, what's going to stand out more? That like or that comment you mentioned, like, oh, wow, that dress looks amazing on you. Post often to stay top of mind and to make a schedule. So think about it. What gets scheduled usually gets done. So to track and take note of. So what type of content is getting shared? What type of content is getting engagement? And what type of content is getting shared and getting engagement? So with that third point, I mean, is it the videos that are getting shared engagement? Is it, a poll that is getting shared? And think about what particular content provides leads, clients, and inquiries. So just think of your digital plan too as kind of a fluid, ever-changing document. So review it from time to time and tweak where necessary, because again, the rules of social media are always changing. So whether you like it or not, you may have to end up changing it. Okay, so final thing is the special offer, because you guys are amazing. So I have a lightning round strategy session, which is normally priced at $109, but webinar attendees get to have it for $15 off. Okay, next point, please. So you can use the code webinar15 online when you're booking a session. And so you would just go to my site, makeinthebacon.com, under the section work with me, then 60-minute strategy session.
I will also send out this information to all the registrants. You should get an email by tomorrow with all this. Maybe tonight if I work quickly.
So just a few details. So the earliest session can be booked on September 10th, but don't feel you need to book a session by the deadline, September 20th. So you can book a session, say, okay, October is a better time for you, as long as you schedule in that session by September 20th, 11:59 p.m. That's when the code expires.
Right.
And so you're probably wondering, okay, so I know the price, I get a discount code. What is this session about? So you'll receive an audit of your blog and social media accounts. So I'll go through the profiles and the feeds. We'll have a 1-hour strategy session where we will go through the audit and any other questions you may have. And so for reference, you'll also get a recording of the session just in case you feel you missed anything while taking notes. And then also I'll provide notes and an action plan for you to implement into your business. So if you want to connect, I'm on all of these platforms. I'm the most active on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And I always joke to people saying that Making the Bacon, the account was taken. Like literally, it was taken. I couldn't on pretty much all of them. So I had to add the one. So this is just another tidbit. If you don't have your accounts yet, or you're not sure like the name of your business, check ahead of time to see if the social media accounts are available. And if they are, grab them, snap them up. because I actually messaged somebody on Twitter who had the bacon account, because their account, the profile image was only that default egg. So I had messaged them and asked, I was willing to pay if the price was reasonable, and unfortunately, no answer. So to maintain consistency, I had to add a one. So this is just an aside. Just grab it and don't let go. So if you prefer email, I check my email every day, several times a day. I'm Karen@makingthebacon.com. And yeah, if you just want to check the site out, makingthebacon.com.
This has been perfect. So there is a question from Amal here that says, in your opinion, what is the best platform for Canadian immigration matters? Personally, I think Facebook.
Yeah, I was about to say that one. I think having a Facebook page, or like maybe I think even having a Facebook group as well, because I feel that could foster a lot of like great connection and conversation with people.
There are a lot of groups. I know I'm going to just, thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, everyone.
Before we jump in.
Oh yeah, maybe I'll open up the chat too.
Yeah, I'm going to stop the share and open the chat because, great, you can see both of us now. There are so many immigration groups on Facebook. I know this because my expo is for immigrant women, and when I go through all these groups, it's incredible. So you can always definitely go to Facebook, and people will join those groups, and they're very active.
Yeah, it's interesting because I find, and in my experience, that with Facebook groups, there is a lot of conversation, connection going on versus LinkedIn groups. I have tried basically till the cows come home to engage with people in the LinkedIn groups. And it might be based on the certain types of LinkedIn groups, but it really seems to be a ghost town, or people are just promoting. Like I've started to try and ask questions, just questions alone in Facebook to start, ask questions in LinkedIn to start a conversation. And yeah, it's hard. It's like pulling teeth.
Yeah, it depends on the group for LinkedIn. I can say for some stuff like outside of business, like let's say you have chromatography forums, like forums work in LinkedIn, but the other groups don't. But for Facebook, yeah, like I love it for conversation. There's another question. How many words should your blog have?
Yes, this is a very common question. So with respect to words, I think it's important to not necessarily like focus on the amount entirely. Like don't add words or stuff words just to reach that amount. But with that being said, I don't think a blog post should be short. So only like 250 words, 500 words. And I think when you're, say if you're sharing your story, if you're kind of writing a how-to post providing tips and tricks, you most likely will end up writing more. So according to Google, last time I checked, and with respect to, quality posts, they say at least 1,000 words. But in all honesty, I average between 800 to 1,000 words. So, and also too, if you're starting off blogging, I don't think, you may not necessarily get to the 800 words right away, but I think over time, it's just one of those things, eventually you'll find you'll have more to write about. So really aim for the quality first, but again, don't make it too short too, because sometimes if people look at the post and they see it's just 2 paragraphs, it might not seem as credible or as interesting. So hopefully that answered your question. I'm not sure if I kind of went zigzaggy.
And I don't usually because I don't think about how much time people spend reading. And I know I'm a scanner. So I break up my blogs, the ones that I write at least, by bullet points or by using lists.
Yeah.
People love lists and bullets.
Yeah, lists are apparently really popular blog posts.
Another question. What is the best web hosting domain provider for blogs on WordPress.org?
Sorry, are you asking like either Bluehost or HostGator? I'm
not sure. This question was from Rena. Rena, if you want to expand on your question, then we'll get back to it. For now, I have another one. Are there particular days or times in your experience that work better to post on social media?
There are a lot of posts that say like, oh, post on this time, but it's one of those things, again, you kind of take it with a grain of salt. I feel that the best way is to look in your own analytics specifically, like your followers. And then also think too, again, when you're a website, like the internet is global. So people may be accessing your posts. But again, if you notice that the majority of your followers are from North America, you probably want to look into posting during those times. So yeah, you can. I honestly, I don't really follow it too much. Like I usually just end up scheduling my blog posts for the morning, just because I feel that a lot of the times people like on their way to work, they'll look at social media and they'll check blogs.
Yeah, I usually, my blogs, they go up whenever I get to them, to be totally honest. My social media posts, I try to do Instagram. I try to do them in the morning, like probably like 5:30, 6 o'clock, because then I know that people who get up early will be looking at it. But then I still try to post some things at noon, some things
Yeah,
at 5,
like
because
people
people on the
during their lunch
train.
breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
again,
go ahead.
no, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, weirdly enough, for my newsletter, my best time is Sundays at 2 p.m.
Yeah, I think also too, with respect to again like times and looking in addition to looking at your own analytics for your account is again kind of like testing to just like seeing, okay, tweak it if I decide to post on this day at this time, will I get um, some more engagement?
Do some, I could have sworn I probably saw this somewhere this week. I don't remember where. But do some platforms like Buffer allow you to do segmented posts where maybe you can post the same content to different, I don't remember, I might
Oh,
be.
like posting the same content to different times.
Yeah.
To be honest, I haven't looked into that.
I thought I saw it somewhere, but I don't remember what it is. Rena did expand on her question. She said, yes, she's been reading various reviews and not sure which one to use. DreamHost, HostGator, or
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, in my opinion, I've actually gone through 4 different hosting providers. So just rolling back a bit, the first couple I went to were just basically through word of mouth, and these were independents. I think one of the downside, even though the costs, I remember the costs was kind of good. It was a good fit for my budget, but they ended up closing shop for whatever reason. So I think if anything in general with a hosting provider, go with the big guys because they're more established. They've been around for a while. I think there's a slight less chance of them shutting down. So I was with Bluehost for a bit. And again, this is just in my personal experience. I've had some issues with customer service in that, I've been waiting a long period of time. And when I say long, it went into double digits.
oh wow.
So I ended up transferring to SiteGround, and I have found their service to be pretty decent. So I've stuck around with them. And again, for disclosure, I am an affiliate with SiteGround, so I'm just recommending them. But with respect to hosting, I think also like asking around, figuring out what your needs are too, because they have different plans and different prices. So I think it really all depends on what your needs are.
And
But yeah, go for the most part, go with the bigger guys.
Gemma said Host Papa is Canadian, but good WordPress host, SiteGround, and WordPress Engine. I don't know what all that means.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of WordPress Engine. I think they're more of like a premium WordPress hosting site.
Okay. What is a good number of hashtags to use on Facebook?
You know what? In all honesty, I found like with number of hashtags in Facebook, I haven't noticed really that much of a difference in engagement. And I think it might have to do with the whole algorithm changing in that unless you give priority to Facebook pages, right? Unless you actually, select Facebook pages you want to see. I found like hashtags has not really done anything too much. I don't know, Funny, if you can speak from experience.
I use the same amount of hashtags for everything, unfortunately. So now I know better. I feel for Facebook though, they just want you to pay.
Yeah, pay to
Get more
play the whole
engagement.
Facebook ads. Yeah, because I noticed.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to add that I noticed a huge difference in engagement when I had a Facebook ad. Like, it's insane versus just Facebook, organic Facebook posts.
Mhm. Salima asked thoughts on starting with YouTube versus podcast versus Instagram if her avatar is on all of these channels. Where would you say people get most engagement?
I would say, if anything, if given those platforms, I'm not a YouTuber. I don't create video, but I think given the fact that YouTube is a huge search engine, I would look into YouTube. Just given the fact like how many people are searching for how-to videos or music videos versus Instagram and podcasts.
Mhm. Perfect. These were a lot of questions.
I know this is
Wow.
amazing. Thank you so much, everyone.
Holy smokes. Well, everyone, if you have more questions, please do remember to find Karen on social media. I will, like I said, I will have this uploaded tonight on YouTube, and then I will have an email sent out with all her contact information as well as her offer by the latest tomorrow. I will also type in here just for everyone. I have an expo coming up, and I actually am going to give free tickets to everyone on this webinar if you are interested.
Exciting.
Now I need to remember the promo code. It's webinar. So if you go to the event website, it's an Immigrant Women Small Business Expo. It's not just for immigrants and not just for women, but it's the perfect place to go to find out more information and find out more service tools that you need in order to start your small business. We'll have 2 awesome panels. The first one is Immigrant Women in STEM, which I'm so excited about. The second one is going to talk about the increase in minimum wage and how it affects immigrant businesses. And then we have a couple of workshops on top of that. So if you would like to attend, it's at the Ontario Science Centre, September 16th. And just use the promo code webinar and you can get free tickets. Look at that. So Karen, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is amazing. We went over quite a bit.
Oh, really? I was so concerned that we wouldn't make it at the time.
You did an awesome job. It's your first time. We would never know it.
Yeah, 3rd webinar, but first time doing this format, so.
Oh, it is great. Oh, someone said ideas to monetize your blog.
Oh, actually, this is a good one, and it's a great question because a lot of the times people automatically think that using ads, and I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of ads, seeing ads on site. I feel it kind of takes away from the purpose. If you do decide to use ads, by all means, more power to you, but note that I don't know the exact formula, but you do need to have a significant number of clicks in order for you to make significant money. So you'll notice it's usually the bigger publishing sites, such as like New York Times, Huffington Post, are the ones that have ads that make sense. If you do decide to go the ad route, please, I think it makes more sense to kind of have it at the end of the blog post, like not in the middle, because I will get distracted and then want to buy, shoes, and totally, again, the shiny object syndrome. Yeah, so different ways to monetize. So there are ads. You can also look into, again, I mentioned I worked with some of those brands. So you can look into just kind of ambassadorships, like sponsorships, writing a blog post on your site. But again, best practice is to disclose to your readers, saying that this is a paid post, I think, in all honesty. And then also too, for me, I'm not doing as many partnerships anymore. So how I've been making money off of my blog is, again, providing services, just providing, you can also look into selling e-products based on your blog. So ebooks, and again, like online courses. I think there are actually, a huge amount of products that you could or services you can do, just kind of using your blog as a I guess as a platform for people to visit and then learn more about you.
What I found, I don't do this often, I should do it a little bit more, with some blogs is if, let's say, I'm trying to come up with an example, But let's say I have a certain product I want to sell for the holiday, like a calendar, like a content planning calendar. I might be writing a blog about content planning, and then I would embed my own image in that blog at the end to click to purchase your content planning calendar.
Yeah, no, that's a really good idea. I also thought too about like again affiliate marketing. So a lot of the web host providers, they have affiliate links, so you can look into that. Again, like say writing a blog post mentioning that it has affiliate links of why you decided to go with this web host provider in particular.
This is awesome. Thank you so much. Wow. I feel like we're like equipped and ready to go. I need to learn. I need to implement what I've learned. I did jot down some notes over here. So thank you
Awesome.
again, Karen.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And again, thank you to all the attendees. I hope you got something out of it. And yeah, just feel free to get in touch with me.
Yeah, so making the bacon, you can't forget that.
Yes, it rhymes. Remember, nothing to do with bacon.
Yes, but everybody loves bacon, so making the bacon. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night, and I'll see you soon online.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.